Good morning. It's a pleasure to provide this presentation on priority for collaborative efforts in cardiogenic shock moving forward and provide an FDA perspective. I would like to start by saying that I think I counted a total of 8 FDA representatives in this room, including 2 office directors from 2 different centers, which really shows how much support we have of this type of efforts. I do not have any conflict of interest to report. As we have heard from prior presentation today, I think there is a general agreement that cardiogenic shock is associated with many challenges. The first group of general challenges include the heterogeneity of a patient population with multiple phenotypes. The type of device used may depend on patient characteristic, shock phenotype, patient location, transverse or inpatient, and last but not least, on operator preference and who is on call when that call comes from either center. In addition to that, we know that the complexity of ancillary care can vary significantly across different devices. There is a second group of challenges related to study design and conduct, definition, safety and effectiveness endpoint, and I think we made great progress in a collaborative fashion over the past couple of years, thanks to the effort of the Academic Research Consortium group and MICH group and so on. There are challenges related to protocolization of treatments and procedures, and I believe that Naveen had shown some of those information on how we can improve the study design. And then the last challenge related to study design is that device escalation is not uncommon, bridge to decision, bridge to a bridge, or bridge to destination therapy, and of course this device de-escalation as an additional challenge. And finally, there is a third group of challenges which is related to outcomes interpretation and adjudication. We know that there is an overlap between outcomes secondary to cardiogenic shock, safety events secondary to mechanical support, and procedure and device-related safety events. I mentioned before device escalation and de-escalation, and therefore appropriate adjudication of adverse event, device-related versus procedure-related versus this specific can be challenging. And actually, I modified my slide based on a comment that was made by David Morrow on the Shock Academic Research Consortium on how challenging can be sometimes, even when specific dates and times are collected from that perspective. I'd like just to bring your attention on the focus of IDEs. The main focus is the collection of scientifically valid data on safety and effectiveness and definition of the benefit-risk profile. With the definition of clinical benefit as a clinically meaningful effect of an intervention and a favorable effect on how an individual feels, functions, or survives, how long a patient lives, or how a patient feels or functions in daily life. And it can be demonstrated as either a comparative advantage in treatment of a disease or condition or a comparative reduction in treatment-related adverse effect, and best, both advantage in treatment and reduction in adverse effect from that perspective. Nick provided a great overview of the effort that went for the IFIC, and that presentation was followed by a very lively discussion, I would say. So we'll just skip. I just had 3 slides related to that, but the purpose of these 3 slides is just to demonstrate how this is a critical area of collaborative effort, and I think it's been somewhat successful, I would say, based on the fact that IFIC was approved in the IDE for the Recover for clinical trial. And so I would like to just provide you an overall summary of where this collaborative effort can occur and have been occurring. First, the development of core data collection with a linked case report form, standardization of definition and endpoints, and we made major progress, I would say, in the past couple of years. The development of new clinical trials leading to expansion of clinical evidence of safety and effectiveness in different phenotypes of patient population. And most importantly, and last, real-world evidence when appropriate with the development of new registry. And I think as we move forward, we need to start thinking also out of the box in the further development of for-purpose registry or add-on models to available registry that can allow to answer questions that may not be answered from a particular clinical trial. And so I would like to conclude by saying that the FDA fully supports and encourages efforts to classify patient population, draft uniform key event and study element definition, develop clinically meaningful effectiveness and safety endpoints, and craft creative, efficient study design. I would like to conclude by saying that also while FDA recognizes the challenges in conducting cardiogenic shock studies, data demonstrating a reasonable assurance of safety and effectiveness are needed to support new device approval and new claims in labeling. I personally would like to thank all the audience participating to the Academic Research Consortium effort has been a highlight of my past 3 years working with the FDA group. Thank you, Mitch.
Thank you.